Hey folks, this is the Surly Grognards for July 28th, 2014. This is Peter Bowman, and as usual, I'm joined by my good friend and co-host, Eric Carlson. How are you doing tonight, Eric?
The fucking 28th already?
Yeah.
It's just flying by.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, I'm doing all right.
Good. Yeah, we have no real topic tonight, folks.
Yeah, it's going to be us rambling on about random
We're going to be
shit.
talking about things that just we feel like talking about tonight.
Yeah.
Honestly, basically, we didn't get any sort of suggestions in the email this week. No real questions that sparked ideas. And I'm
Well,
just...
Comic-Con happened. The extent of my knowledge of it was there was a Mad Max trailer.
Yeah, I haven't really looked at what happened at Comic-Con, and so yeah, we talked about comic books last week anyways.
Yeah. Oh, we talked about superheroes, not necessarily the same thing.
Fair enough. That's actually a valid point.
It's a valid point now.
Yeah.
5 years ago, not necessarily.
Actually, 5 years ago, I'd say definitely... Actually, this is a good place to start things.
Yeah.
Honestly, there have been a lot of non-superheroic comic books for quite a long time. I mean, hell, the comics started as non-superheroic.
Oh, no. What I'm talking about is more that, superheroes have very much, come out of the comic books. They're all over media now.
Oh, sure.
Even 5 years ago, that wasn't
Oh,
necessarily...
okay, I see what you're talking about.
Your Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies and whatnot.
Yeah.
And the X-Men movies, but they weren't nearly as dominating as they are now.
Well, yeah, I mean, the superhero has, the superhero story has really moved into the mainstream at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, to the point that, this year's big summer blockbuster is Guardians of the Galaxy.
How the fuck did that happen? And yeah, I'm gonna go see that.
I'll see it. I will see it at some point because I watch all the Marvel movies at some point.
Right.
I've still got to get back to. I got to get to Dark World, but that's the only, that and Iron Man 3 are the only two I haven't seen yet.
Dark World?
Thor: The Dark World.
Oh, right.
Thor 2.
Right. Thor 2. The much that movie might not be good, but it's tremendous amounts of fun.
I'm okay with that. I mean,
I had so much fun watching that movie.
yeah, I will guarantee that I will end up divorcing myself from the quality of it as a film at some point during it.
Yeah.
From everything I've heard about it, because I'll have to enjoy it, because I'm much pickier when it comes to movies than Eric is.
That's not necessarily true.
Well, okay, I'm more critical about them in terms of film quality.
Yes. I tend to get that way when it comes to animation, though.
Right. Exactly. Well, yeah. You're that way about cinematography too, though.
Yes, that's true. Also, bad cinematography really angers me.
Yeah. Well, it annoys me too. I'll put it this way: it annoys me more than bad animation does.
Right. Fucking bad animation.
Oh, bad animation's bad. Don't get me wrong.
Fucking bad animation.
But I think part of it for me is that cinematography has been an art form for longer.
Yes.
So there's less excuse.
Sort of. Animation's
Not a lot longer now that I'm thinking about it, really.
Not a lot longer at all.
Maybe 10 years.
If that.
Yeah, just thinking about it. Wait, no, I'm fucking wrong, aren't I?
Yeah, no.
I'm just wrong.
I'm glad because I was going to start pulling out the shit on you.
Excuse me.
But I think the big difference is the technological advancement of animation is much more noticeable.
That's true. And also, I mean, from a critical standpoint, I would say that cinematography has been treated as an art form by the critics longer.
Yes, yeah, it's
which is bullshit, but
which is utter bullshit, and it's part of the reason why I watch so much anime is because Japan as a whole seems to understand that you can tell more than kids' stories with animation. In fact, there are amazing, beautiful things you can do only with animation.
Yep, I'd agree with that. Oh, absolutely. And, I mean, God, fucking just look at Disney. I mean...
Yeah, seriously, what was it? I was watching clips from Hunchback of Notre Dame the other day.
Oof.
And terrible fucking movie, but oh my god, the animation.
Oh, absolutely.
Holy shit. I mean, sometimes I forget just how good Disney is at its job.
No, Disney's cell animation is just mind-boggling.
It's phenomenal. It's the best shit out there. The end.
Yeah, period. I mean, it's the best cell animation out there. It's. I mean, like you go back to Sleeping Beauty, and it still stands up.
Sleeping Beauty like blows the hell out of like most of the shit coming out nowadays.
And that was
And
their first movie.
What is it? 60, 70 years old at this point?
Yeah, no kidding. It's just like, wait, what?
No CG crushes at all. Just guys chained to desks drawing the same drawing over and over again.
It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
just incredible. But I mean, I adore well done animation of all sorts. I mean, you know, not just you know like cell shade, not just cell stuff, not just CG, but like really well done claymation is like some of my favorite stuff.
Oh,
out there.
good claymation is A, really hard to find, B, totally worth sitting through the shittiest plot ever. If it's,
Yeah,
if it's
I mean,
well done.
it's hard to pull. It's very hard to do, and there aren't a lot of studios that do it well. Aardman being the obvious example one that does
Aardman,
it well.
the guys who did Coraline and Paranorman.
Yes, they're really
They're
good.
phenomenal. Holy shit.
Those you know, wow.
And both those movies are amazing. Go if you haven't seen either of them, go watch them now.
Yep.
Like I cannot recommend them highly enough.
Yeah, I mean, Aardman is for those who don't know who Aardman is, they're best well known for the Wallace and Gromit shorts.
Yep.
And then the Wallace and Gromit movies. But I'd say probably their best movie actually is probably Chicken Run.
Yeah, Chicken Run is pretty good. What is the bunch of shorts where they interview different people and they animate them in...
Oh God, I can't remember the name of it. Crap.
I can't remember the name of it.
I want to say it's
They
like
animate them as animals.
It's like
And
Animal Tales or something like that.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's really clever. I mean,
Yes,
really,
it's really well done.
clever. I mean, basically, you know, I adore Chicken Run, especially someone who's a huge fan of The Great Escape, which is
basically what the movie is.
there's so many. I mean, that's basically what it is. But I mean, there's so many bits that are just like direct, like homages to The Great Escape. It's like, it's a really well done movie. And the short that they did, The Wrong Trousers.
Yeah, Wrong Trousers.
Oh, that's so funny. It's just,
Yeah,
oh my God, I adore those guys. But yeah, the guys who did Coraline Paranorman are just
Yeah,
fantastic.
I can't remember the name of the studio off the top of my head, but they're phenomenal. Like I think those are the only two things they've done because it's a long, time-consuming, expensive process.
Yeah.
But holy shit, do they pull it off? Like I could forgive them for cutting corners, and they don't.
Yeah. Yeah, neither of those studios do, is the thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like you can still see the freaking like sometimes you can still see the thumbprints in the Aardman stuff. Like
very rarely,
Seriously.
but it's just, they're so
the
painstaking.
early stuff, you can see the thumbprints.
Yeah, so painstaking. Oh my God. But yeah, back to the superheroes and stuff. Yeah, they've really moved into the mainstream, and
I think that's largely Marvel's doing.
it
Honestly.
is. Oh, it's the Marvel Cinematic stuff that's done it.
Yeah,
No question. Honestly, it's Iron Man.
yeah. Iron Man really hit. Iron Man came out at exactly the right time.
Exactly.
For it was one of those weird little perfect storms, like World of Warcraft for MMOs,
Right.
that just sort of touched a nerve at exactly the right time, and boom! Now they've spun it off into this huge cinematic empire that rules the summer with an iron gauntlet.
Yeah. I mean, it's astonishing, and Marvel's managed to capture just a lot of things. I mean, the Marvel Studios guys have managed to capture a large part of what I adore about superhero comics, and
Yes.
yet make it work on the silver screen.
It's clear that they're very careful about who they choose to hand stuff off to.
Yes.
And they're like, have you read this stuff? Do you enjoy this stuff? Have you made other movies? Do you understand these things? Okay, here's something ridiculous. Go make a movie out of it.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, I adored Iron Man. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Captain America might be their best.
The first Avenger.
one. The first Avenger.
That's probably the best overall movie of the series of all the Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff. I adore the Avengers. It's a lot of fun. And
Avengers is a giant fist pump of kick-ass, is what it is.
right.
It's a giant celebration of, yes, we did it. Here's the proof.
Yeah, I would the difference between the two of them, I would say, is the Avengers is the better at adapting a comic book into a movie that still feels like a good comic book.
Yes.
Whereas Captain America, the first Avenger, is just a really freaking good movie.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel as comic booky, but that's partially because it's drawing on Golden Age stuff, as opposed to Silver Age stuff.
They're also playing up a lot on the whole World War II like propaganda stuff.
Right, exactly.
And a lot of the imagery is pulled straight out of like loose lip sync ships type posters.
Right, exactly.
Which, if you haven't seen any of that stuff, like all sides of the war had gorgeous propaganda posters.
Yeah, it was
beautiful
really
stuff
well done.
worth looking at.
Yep. But yeah, and then the Winter Soldier is a really well done spy movie.
Yeah, Winter Soldier is the Bourne Identity done with Captain America and 30% more awesome.
I really, really enjoy the Bourne movies, honestly.
Right.
But I would say that as a spy movie, Winter Soldier is a better spy movie. Because, I mean, it's not the best spy movie I've seen. There are better spy movies out there. Examples would include the recent remake of Smiley's People. Not Smiley's People. Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy with Gary Oldman. Oh my God, it's good.
I haven't seen it. I'm not as big on spy movies as you are.
Well, no, that's not surprising.
Yeah, I tend to watch more horror movies than you do.
There's an understatement there, yes. But yeah, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Oh my God, it's brilliant. I might still give the nod to the miniseries done in, I want to say, the early '80s, starring Alec Guinness as George Smiley. But wow,
that I have seen a few things of, and that was really fucking good.
Yeah, well, it's Alec Guinness. I mean,
yes, it's fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi being a spy. It's awesome.
That's an actual spy story, is the thing.
Yeah.
It's a lot. There's not as much action, shall we say? It's actually another great spy movie that came out somewhat recently, about like 10 years ago now at this point, I think, was Spy Games, starring Robert Redford and want to say Brad Pitt, but the other major star lead wasn't directly. It's basically a spy gets captured by I forget who they get captured by, and it's basically Redford, who's basically his handler, effectively trying to find a way to spring him loose.
I did not see or hear about this movie.
Oh God, it's really good.
Okay.
And it's Redford. I mean,
right.
I heartily endorse watching that movie. But yeah, it's really been, as we were saying though, it's been interesting watching how the comic books have, the superheroes moved into the mainstream, which I'm fine with. I have no.
I'm too. Once upon a time, I would have been annoyed at suddenly finding myself hip, but at this point in my life, I've just gone, hey, there's more stuff that I like being produced. That I am down with this.
Yeah. And and honestly, the comic book movies as a whole have gotten better. I mean,
they really have. They've really started to understand how to adapt the source material.
Yeah, and and without ruining without hurting the actual feel of what they're pulling in.
Yes,
they're taking
the exceptions of this being Warner Brothers is anything but Batman.
Yeah. Well,
Warner Brothers terrified of their own source material.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is that Marvel / Disney has seemed to accept the fact that you can have it still be somewhat absurd and still have quality to it.
Yes.
And the Warner Brothers people seem to think that the absurdity makes it impossible for it to be,
taken seriously.
Seriously.
Yeah. And that was kind of the... I think they tried staring down that sort of absurd quality kind of deal with Green Lantern, but they so completely dropped the ball with that fucking movie It was just completely mismanaged, misdirected, misacted, everything. Like there was talent behind it, but it was all just completely just it was a horrible jumbled mess that managed to both bore and anger me.
Yeah, I didn't watch that one because I looked at it and said, yeah, no.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. I was like, okay. I don't hate Ryan Reynolds, but I
I
can't
don't
envision
either.
him. I can't envision him as Hal Jordan.
I think it would have made a better Guy Gardner, honestly.
Well, sure.
But yeah, and
You make a better Kyle Rayner.
yeah,
I mean,
would have made a better any Green Lantern except for Jon Stewart.
well, yeah. Well, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's yeah.
Which is funny because it's not like Warner Brothers doesn't know how to handle this stuff. Like, look at everything Bruce Timm has done.
Yeah, but that's animated. It's totally different. It's totally different as far as they're concerned.
But why? And this comes back to my annoyance with the way animation is treated.
Well, that's it. That's exactly it. And like when I was talking with you guys via Skype about, I was looking into sort of some of the stuff that sort of back workings of Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and I found out exactly why there's a huge tonal shift in season 2, and why they stopped doing as many sort of ongoing plot arcs, and it was editorial mandate basically from the studio, saying that they did focus groups and they found that kids had trouble following kids had found the short plot arcs much easier to follow than the long plot arcs, and this is obviously a kids show because it's superheroes and are animated, so we should go with this, and it was still good.
Yeah, it was still good, but yeah, it was like, but at the same time, I point to Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
Or Legend of Korra, both of which are great shows. Korra tends to come off the rails and be very uneven at times, but and both of them have ongoing story arcs. They have their short little contained stories, but there's an overarching plot that's not hard to follow. And yeah, seriously, look what you can't do Avatar live action. M. Night Shyamalan showed you can't.
He's going to be doing a second movie.
He is? Really?
Yep.
How? How is he getting the funding for this?
I don't know! I honestly have no fucking clue how that happened. But it's happened. There's going to be a second live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender movie. Because apparently M. Night Shyamalan hates all of us.
Yeah. I feel kind of sorry for M. Night Shyamalan. He's a guy who showed a lot of promise, but ended up, eating too much of his own hype.
Yes.
And is now convinced of his own infallibility and completely delusional about, what he can and can't do. I feel sorry for the guy. But at the same time, I can't deny, Sixth Sense and Unbreakable were his two good movies.
They're both brilliant movies.
They're brilliant movies. They're amazing movies. I love those movies.
And, Signs has a lot of good stuff in it. And then a lot of dreck.
Yeah, a lot of... Signs is where he started coming off the rails, where things started coming apart. And then there's Lady of the Water, which is a giant, masturbatory, self-glorification project. And yeah. And it goes on from there.
Right. I just... So, yeah, I don't know.
And The Happening, which is so utterly ridiculous.
See, I stopped watching his movies after a certain point.
I watched The Happening because I was like, seriously? Trees of the Enemy? Okay, I need to see this. Holy crap, Marky Mark trying his best to take this movie seriously.
Poor Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg is great. I love him as an actor, but holy crap, he's trying so hard.
Okay, Captain Freetime in the chat actually has a question which sort of ties into what we've been talking about,
Okay.
which is, why are companies afraid of breaking out of demographics? Why do kiddie things have to stay kiddie things?
Part of this is because... I know why, and I can't blame them. It's because there's a lot of financial risk involved.
Yep.
And failed projects have sunk studios before.
Yep, that's exactly it.
Look what happened with After Earth, which is an okay movie. I like After Earth, or Titan AE. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, I was about to
After
say.
Earth was something else entirely.
Yeah.
And it's one of Don Bluth's last movies, which means, yeah, I don't care how stupid the story is. I'm going to sit down and watch it because Don Bluth is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it flopped and it sank the studio. Look what happened with Iron Giant. One of the best animated movies out there. Seriously,
Oh my God.
watch Iron Giant if you haven't already.
It is one of the greatest Superman movies ever made.
It is the best Superman movie ever made. But yeah, it through a weird confluence of events, it ended up sinking the studio.
Which is that's heartbreaking.
Yes, it really is.
Because that movie is so good, and the people who
so good, and it's seriously, I watch it every Thanksgiving with my family.
it's a work of art. It honestly is. That is one of the best animated movies ever made. Period.
Yeah.
I mean, just
and yeah, going out of focus groups and whatnot, it institutes a financial risk, and it's always better to make a shitty Adam Sandler movie that's guaranteed to turn a profit than it is to do something ambitious and interesting. As long as you completely ignore everything but the numbers, and that's a lot of the times that's all they care about.
And part of that's because they do have a fiduciary responsibility to the people who own the company to make the money, especially if it's a publicly traded company.
And I wish it wasn't true. I mean, fuck you, capitalism, but I wish it wasn't true. But I can understand why. And I'm now done defending them, and now I'm going to rail against the system that does this. Because, god damn it, why can't we have another Iron Giant? Why can't we have something like that?
Well, at least because the Iron Giant was made, and it was so critically loved, and everyone who saw it knew how good the writing was in it. It meant that Pixar hired Brad Bird to write The Incredibles. write The Incredibles. And then all of a sudden, we got The Incredibles, which is, I think, probably, at least in my opinion, to date, still the best superhero movie made.
Incredibles is really fucking good.
I mean, as much as I love The Avengers, and I love The Avengers.
Yeah.
Oh my god, The Incredibles!
You know why you like The Incredibles so much? Because someone got a spy thriller into your superhero movie.
Yes! It's why I love The Winter Soldier too, Eric!
I know.
Dill Page says best Fantastic Four movie, certainly. Well, yes, that's not...
Yes,
that's not hard! There hasn't been a good
bunch of Don Bluth's terrible movies that I've seen them all. And you know what? They're terrible, terrible fucking movies. But the animation's so good.
Yeah, you have to remember, this is Eric we're talking about. So,
seriously, I will watch, the snuff porn version of... the animated snuff porn version of Birth of a Nation, if it's well animated. I'll just turn off the sound and, turn on some music.
But yeah, the Fantastic Four movies, I mean... The two recent ones, both of them are awful. There's the never-released Roger Corman one, which I've seen parts of, and oh my god!
I kind of want to see that. I kind of think it might be a better one than the other two.
I don't know. It's bad. It's really bad. But yeah, it's really interesting seeing how hard it is for studios to wrap their brains around writing. Striking that balance for superhero movies especially.
Yeah.
And striking that balance between making it a quality movie and still keeping some of the absurdity that's in it. It's inherent to the genre.
Yeah. And you can't... And it's easy to fuck up. See Green Lantern.
Right. Absolutely.
Green Lantern was such a weird mix of desperately trying to be cool at the same time being true to the source material, but not wanting to build up to what made the source material good. It was a mess. Let's introduce Parallax right off the bat, and Let's have Sinestro show up for 5 minutes, but he's still a good guy. Not seriously. Why don't you just do fucking Training Day in space? That's all you got to do for a Green Lantern movie.
Basically, I mean, and Captain Freedom said, how would you actually make a good Fantastic Four movie? Okay, ignoring look at the Incredibles, we'll ignore that. The big thing is that they got a lot of, honestly, the new Fantastic Four movies got a lot of things right, and then a lot of things wrong.
Sue Storm, they got so wrong.
Yes,
Doctor Doom was a fucking joke.
Well, we're not going to discuss that. So, point one, they actually
was all right.
They knocked the ball out of the park with their casting of Ben Grimm.
Yeah, Ben Grimm was perfect. Like, seriously, incredibly well done. Like, the thing was the best thing about that movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, Chris Evans was fine as Johnny Storm. I mean,
yeah, he was a decent Johnny Storm.
He's a good actor.
Here's the thing. See him as Johnny Storm again.
And honestly, I can't remember the guy's name. The guy who played Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, he was a decent Reed Richards.
The real problem. I'm going to look this up now because it's going to kill me if I don't look this up. So going, I know his name.
But I'd almost want to see Fantastic Four done as... Do it like friggin' like... I don't know.
But anyway, so Ian Gruffeld. Grufford. I'm pronouncing his name wrong. I know he's Scottish, if I remember correctly. No, he's Welsh.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't detect a hint of Marple's voice.
Dude. They actually basically had to hire voice coaches for him because he has a very thick Welsh accent, apparently.
Gotcha. They earned their pay. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, and then we get to Sue Storm.
Yeah.
And the casting of Jessica Alba.
Listen, she's very, very pretty, and she's a decent comedic actress. But really.
I kind of object to using the term actress anywhere near her. She is less awful than Jennifer Garner, who was bizarrely cast as Elektra.
Oh God, I'd forgotten about that.
Ow! My brain.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that. Wow, what a terrible movie.
They got it. Well, yeah, both of the movies she was in.
Yeah,
because Elektra was in Daredevil.
You know, I know I've seen that movie. I know I've seen that movie a couple times. I still don't remember anything about it.
We've had this discussion. At any rate, yeah. So step one is to get an actual someone to play. The important thing is, no matter what you do, get good actors. I don't give a flying, and you get at least one big name because you need to do this for whatever reason. But get people who can act to play the characters.
Gary Oldman for Dr. Doom.
Step two, have Dr. Doom in the movie.
Yes.
Actually have the character Dr. Doom in the movie. Actually, you don't even have to do that.
Benedict Cumberbatch as Dr. Doom.
Sure, whatever.
Because he's got the voice. He has the very important voice that can sound all in italics all the time.
I don't care who it is. And the thing is, you don't even really have to have Doom. I mean, you can have Doom. That's great. But if you're going to have Doom, have Doom.
Right.
Have the actual character. And, and embrace the absurd. The Fantastic Four's origin story is completely fucking absurd. You know what? That's okay.
Cosmic radiation gave us superpowers.
Whee!
Now we'll go to the negative zone, because, go to the negative zone, and Dr. Doom chases them in an attempt to assassinate Reed Richards.
Ignore that. Here's the thing. The Fantastic Four's basic story of the scientists and explorers who go out into space and come back changed completely, and them having to adapt to normal human society, into the normal world, and how they are treated by society. That is a great fucking story.
Yeah, actually.
Why can't that be a movie? I mean, really. The story of Ben Grimm.
Yeah. Ben Grimm, like, seriously, Ben Grimm's awesome.
Going from, everyone looks at him and treats him like a monster, and he still remains one of the best people in the entirety of the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
He is a good man. And eventually, that's the thing I love about the Fantastic Four, is eventually the citizens of the Marvel Universe come around on Ben Grimm.
Yeah.
They realize eventually that this is a hero.
There is way back in the 60s, one of the terrible Fantastic Four cartoons.
Oh, there are a lot of them.
There are a lot of them. But one I remember where Doctor Doom's whole plan is that he realizes that he can take any of the Fantastic Four except for Ben Grimm. So what he does, he gives Ben the exact thing he wants. He gives him back his humanity. And then he starts beating the crap out of the other members of the Fantastic Four. And Ben Grimm is left with a choice. He can either return to a giant rock monster or live out his normal life. And yeah, it's a crappy cartoon from the 60s done by, like, I think Hanna-Barbera, so the quality was quality stuff.
It definitely had a certain quality to it.
But it was like, that core of the story, that's a really good story. And obviously, like, in the 15 minutes that it is, Ben, like, comes to the realization that he needs to go and save his family, so he, like, jumps in the chamber, comes out a rock monster, and goes and beats up Doctor Doom.
Right. But that's a great little nugget there.
Yeah.
And Clark One Chat mentions that didn't the stupid movie do that, what I was talking about? And it kind of did, but it didn't do it well. And they didn't focus on that, is the thing. The problem is that you need to focus in on one story. And this is the problem a lot of the DC movies have. And a lot of superhero movies have. They introduce so many different elements into it. And cannot focus on one story. It's why the first Spider-Man movie of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies is the best of the bunch, in my opinion, in a lot of ways.
I still really dig the second one.
The second one's okay. The first and second one are both pretty good. But
the third one definitely suffers from exactly what you're talking about.
The third one, yeah, definitively, and that's not Sam Raimi's fault.
No, that's the studio fucking with shit.
But honestly, the second movie would have been better if they hadn't really done much with the whole Harry plotline. It would have. They didn't overfocus on it, so it didn't actually intrude on the movie.
Right.
But but more focus on Dr. Octavius would have helped it, I think.
I can accept that, yeah. And he was.
Oh,
yeah,
and oh my God, Alfred Molina was the best part of that movie.
Yes. The power of the sun in the palm of my hand. And yeah, Sam Raimi is a perfect. I want to see Sam Raimi do the frickin' Fantastic Four. That man has an excellent eye for the absurd. That man's perfect for the Fantastic Four.
He could do it.
Him or Terry Gilliam?
No. I love Gilliam.
Gilliam
Gilliam would take it in the wrong directions.
Yeah, he's too much of a mad genius. He wouldn't respect the source material.
Yeah, I love Gilliam, but
he's much better working on his own shit than he is on other people.
Exactly.
But yeah, that was 6 Sam Raimi on that.
There are a lot of directors who could do well with it. And a lot of directors who should never be anywhere near it.
Michael Bay.
Don't even joke about that.
Probably happened. J.J. Abrams.
Yes. Clark wanted the chat. But Dr. Octavius, what happens if your evil robot tentacles take over your brain? Well, I have a chip to prevent that from happening. Why is that a possibility?
Because science.
But you know what? That doesn't bother me, really. Do you know why it doesn't bother me?
Because science.
Because it's a comic book movie. And
not only that, like I said, more importantly, it's a Sam Raimi movie.
Well, it's not,
that kind of absurdity is taken as par for the course in his movies.
But yeah, I will be bluntly honest. There's a reason I've tried rewatching Spider-Man 2.
I know you can't get past the Terry Maguire.
I can't get past Tobey. I can't get by him. I don't. It's not that he's a bad actor. I just can't stand his portrayal of Peter Parker.
I can understand that, and we've had this discussion before. Like you're sick of the sad sack Peter Parker.
It's not just that. It's not just the sad sack Peter Parker. It's just something about the way he plays it too.
Mm.
And I much prefer him in the first movie to the second one. And you're right. Actually, objectively, for the most part, Spider-Man 2 is better overall than Spider-Man 1. It's just I so much prefer the main character in the first movie to the second one.
I can understand that. I get that.
And that's important.
Meanwhile, what's his face in the what is it? The Amazing Spider-Man? What did they rebrand it? Anyway, the new Spider-Man movies.
I've heard he's actually very good. I've not seen them.
He's good. He's an excellent Spider-Man. He is the most douchebaggy Peter Parker I've ever seen.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. I haven't seen them yet. I'll watch them at some point.
I haven't seen the second one. I saw the first one. I was like, nope. Kind of annoyed. So.
I've heard the second one's better.
Or the second one's worse.
I've heard both, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, I've heard both. But yeah, I honestly can't be arsed to watch them. I've given up on Spidey, which depresses the fuck out of me because he's one of my favorite superheroes of all time.
Yeah, well, like I said, Spidey goes through these weird cycles of awesomeness and complete shit. And yeah, just one too many cycles. You get fed up. It's like, no, I don't want to see another fall.
As I've said,
I don't want to see another One More Day. I don't want to see another Clone Saga. I don't want to. Yeah. For Secret Wars, you have a One More Day.
Yeah, I've gone back and looked at some of the Clone Wars stuff, and it's better than I remembered it being. But that may just be because I've now seen one more day, and I'm like, you know what? No.
Yeah.
Poor Spider-Man. As I said last week, I really think that he really could do to become a legacy hero at this point. I think it would actually help the character immensely.
Yeah.
Because, actual change would be kind of welcome in comic books.
They were doing that for a while, and then One More fucking Day happened. I can't get over One More Day.
I will say this. I did not like Civil War. However, they were attempting something different.
Yeah.
And I actually give them credit for that. The execution was not good. But they were trying something different, and that's saying a lot. DC does that all the time, and sometimes it works out, and sometimes you get the New 52. Yeah. Captain Freetime in the chat has a question for us. How would you run a modern spy tabletop role-playing game? Okay.
Oof. I don't know.
Okay, here's the thing. Step one. You have to decide from the get-go what type of spy game you want to do. As a general rule of thumb, with a normal size, sort of normalish size group, you're going to have to think less James Bond Bourne Identity and more Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
You basically want to have the players basically playing a team of specialists. And, they should have some overlapping skills because they need to be able to do a bunch of different things. But they should all have one sort of focus at what they're really good at.
I could see taking it in a very, Shadowrun / Leverage kind of...
Absolutely.
That's because, again, you've got all your specialists there. And yeah.
So, step one is watch some spy movies. Then, watch heist movies. Because there's a surprising amount of overlap in terms of how you'd build a group of, like a Mission Impossible style group for, for a spy. And honestly, you could use these are a bunch of former thieves who've been recruited by the agency to do actual spy work. As a way to, they've been caught and their ticket out of jail is to work for us. So, watch things like, Ocean's 11, The Score, The Heist, etc. And pull elements from a bunch of different stuff. And,
You know what's a great resource to watch? Burn Notice. It just occurred to me.
Yeah, Burn Notice.
It focuses a lot on Michael Weston, I think was his name.
Yep.
But yeah, it's very much a team of specialists. And like you've got your phase with Sam, you've got Fiona, your heavy, and you've got your mastermind with Michael. And yeah, it's very much a team of specialists going out and doing stuff.
Yeah, and
And just assume they're reporting to an actual agency as opposed to being Shadowrunners, because it's basically what that show is.
well, you can take that angle too, where they're sort of freelance spies too. I mean, that's fine. That'll work.
Yeah.
So I mean, honestly, it's tricky. It's not an easy thing to do, but it's definitely doable. But I would definitely research what you're sort of going for with it. And as there are a bunch of different systems you could run too. GURPS or Hero System would work fine. And there are a bunch of actual designed sort of spy RPGs that exist. I haven't really tried many of them though.
Also, if you don't mind dealing a bit with some somewhat dated ideas of the future, Cyberpunk 2020 is a great resource.
Absolutely. Additionally,
when I say somewhat dated, I mean really dated.
Yeah. Additionally, honestly, you could also go for a sort of more super spies angle, like Bond / Jason Bourne, and just have like a group of them, and somewhat less absurdly over the top competent as those guys, but and you can go for that angle too, which is fine. I mean, honestly, the Burn Notice team is sort of in that sort of milieu to a degree.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can take it. Honestly, what you're effectively you're running to a weird degree, you're sort of running a street level investigating crimes and stuff. Sort of investigating to a weird degree. It's sort of like a street level superhero game to a certain degree.
Yeah. Except with more like invitations to the ambassador's ball and whatnot, and sneaking into a corporate headquarters to discover the super science death beam and that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. But yeah,
because of course it's a super science death beam. Why are you playing a spy movie if it's playing a spy game if there isn't a super science death beam somewhere?
Well, that's if you're going super spy, yes. If you're not, you're retrieving stolen codes and shit,
Yeah, or like a nuke or a stolen nuke or something like that,
or stolen plans for a fighter jet or a missile or what have you.
Or you're stealing plans for a fighter jet or a missile or something.
Right, right, exactly.
Let's not forget, these are spies. They do that shit too.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. You were thinking Captain Freetime was thinking weather control machine. Thumbs up.
Classic. As long as it's being run by a man named Destro.
It doesn't have to be run by Destro, but it doesn't hurt.
Come on, Weather Dominator. Who doesn't love old 80s G.I. Joe? A lot of people don't. Shut up.
Yeah. It had a certain quality to it. Yeah, wow. But yeah, I mean, I think those are good. Those are good starting points, and I mean, you could run. Honestly, you could do a lot of stuff with a lot of different game systems. I mean, you could run a good spy story in D&D, honestly.
Yeah.
Or Iron Kingdoms, or what have you.
Oh, Iron Kingdoms, like, you've got so many careers custom built for that.
What, you mean the spy?
The spy, the thief, the
investigator,
aristocrat, all of which would work great in that kind of scenario.
Absolutely. The bounty hunter, the investigator. There's a lot of stuff.
Hell, the highwayman.
Yep.
He's all about catching people unawares. Same with the cutthroat.
Yep. So yeah, lots of stuff out there you can work with. So yeah. Before we go, we did get a couple of questions that I didn't think would spin out into a full episode, but
okay.
I did want to touch something I was talking about briefly before we got onto talking about the mainstreaming of superheroes, which was sort of where the superhero came from to a certain degree, honestly, and the fact that there are non-superhero comic books out there that are actually good. And I just wanted to sort of touch on how the superheroes grew out of the pulps, basically. And
Yeah. Well, I actually watched a great documentary that PBS did, a 3-part documentary. Can't remember the name of it. I watched it on Netflix. I'm going to go look it up right now. The first episode of it dealt with the origin of superheroes and what they grew out of. And
Right.
Superman in particular grew out of grew out of poor kids. A lot of them Jewish and the sons of immigrants wanting basically an avatar to go out and right these injustices that they see.
Right.
And yeah, and that's how you got Superman. That's exactly how you got Superman. And what was the name of this documentary? Derp, 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 derp.
But yeah, you got it.
Superheroes, never-ending story, a
There
never-ending battle.
There we go.
Yeah,
But yeah.
it's 3 episodes. It's actually really good.
But yeah, there are definitely a bunch of really good non-superhero comic books that have existed that are out there.
Transmetropolitan immediately leaps to mind.
Transmet leaps to mind. Yes, absolutely.
Transmet is Transmet's great, especially if you read it as it was coming out. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, Transmetropolitan is really good. Some of Warren Ellis's best work.
Yeah, honestly.
Brian Michael Bendis did a really nice sort of pulpy thing called Jinx, which I really recommend. It's very sort of noir, actually. I'm thinking about it more.
I've said it before. Saga's fucking amazing.
Yeah, Saga. A great thing to check out. I think we mentioned this before, but Busiek's run on Conan the Barbarian.
Yes, it's very, very good. Holy shit, that's good. Northlanders, in a similar vein, it's basically no magic is involved at all in it. It's just sort of like historical dramas in comic book form about Vikings, and yeah, you guys know I'm a sucker for anything with Vikings in it. It's really well written. The art's gorgeous. I can't remember who wrote or drew it, but it's good stuff all around, and yeah, totally worth checking out.
Right.
Trying to think of other non-superhero. I've read so many friggin' non-superhero comic books. I'm trying to think of them now.
Yep.
I was going to say Atomic Robo, but that doesn't count. Atomic Robo's a fucking superhero.
Yeah, it is.
Lock and Key. Lock and Key is pretty good. I've only read the first couple trades, but that's really good. Fables. Fables is kind of superhero.
Yeah, it is to a degree.
It doesn't have a lot of the tropes, but there's like magic and weirdness and fairy tales and whatnot running around. So it depends on how you define superhero.
Right. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there, and so I would definitely take a look at some of that stuff. And there's a lot of stuff that's really very heavily mineable for role-playing games of various sorts.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I would definitely check those out. Before we go, I do want to touch on a couple of questions we got. At least one.
Okay.
This is from JD. Do you have any good recommendations for role-playing game systems that are not D&D for one-shots? This group size to be one game master and 2 to 3 players. We've played Call of Cthulhu already.
We've said it before. We're going to say it again. Feng Shui.
Yep, absolutely. That is actually, honestly, Feng Shui is a phenomenal system for one-shots.
It's really quick to get the hang of. The system is simple yet elegant, and it's perfect for one-shots.
And you can stick with the Feng Shui universe, which is presented in the book, or you can just adapt it. It'll be sort of action movie one-shot, but come up with an action movie plot, and you could do it in Feng Shui.
Yeah. Iron Kingdoms works pretty well for one-shots because the characters are, once you understand the system, the characters are easy to build, and they're pretty damn competent right out of the box.
Yep. So,
and yeah, I don't mind plugging Iron Kingdoms because I fucking love that system.
Yeah. But honestly, yeah, I would definitely stick with things that are where the system is fairly easy to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
those are sort of our quick recommendations for that. There's some other ones too, but those are the ones that leap to mind.
Like I said, Feng Shui is pretty much perfect. It's like, yeah. Paranoia also. Paranoia can be a lot of fun.
Paranoia is
built for one-shots. Like, seriously, if you're having a long-running campaign in Paranoia, you've done something wrong.
I could see it being done, but yeah. You'd have to take a little sort of different angle on it for the players,
Yeah.
but you could do something interesting with long-term Paranoia game, I think. So, yeah,
I guess you could do Ember one-shot, but no, not really.
well, you're sort of squandering Amber at that point, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's really more about weird political machinations and whatnots.
That Amber's really a story of a game for developing the interactions between the players and the world. But it's definitely a lot of how the player characters interact with each other. And while you could do a one-shot with it, it doesn't give you enough time for the characters to really grow together and,
Yeah.
you know. All right. So, yeah, anything else you want to chat about tonight, Eric?
I think I'm good. Unless you guys want to hear me rant about animation some more.
Oh, lordy. Yeah. I think that's going to do it for tonight. I'm sort of running out of steam. And I probably should do... Yeah. So I think that's going to do it for tonight. We're a little bit of a light show, but, you know. I mean,
that's what you get when you don't suggest
that's what you get. That's when we don't have a full...
It's all your fault.
It's not all your fault. It's our fault, largely, because we didn't think of the topic ahead of time.
They have to be aware just how lazy we are.
Oh my god. Melting. Actually, I'm not actually melting. My apartment's reasonably cool, but I'm tired. So yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for tonight on Surly Grognards. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you got show topic suggestions or questions for us, we try to save the time at the end of each show for questions from the viewers. You can send them to us. Our email address is surlygrognards@yahoo.com. surlygrognards@yahoo.com. Or you can post on our forums, which you can find at mechagm.forumer.com. If you got feedback for us of any sort, constructive criticism, glowing praise, what have you, we love the constructive criticism when we get it. It's very useful to us.
Yeah, we love that shit. We really do.
As I mentioned, questions or show topic suggestions. We especially love show topic suggestions. That means we don't have to spend the entire time rambling about absolutely nothing. We'll be rambling about something.
Theoretically.
Yeah, in theory. Send them to us there. You want to keep an eye on my Twitter, which is @mechagm. I post when the show's going to be going live, and or if we're going to have to delay for whatever reason, or if we're going to have to skip a week. On top of that, we record the show every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern here on twitch.tv/mechagm. Thanks for watching. I hope you had fun. Hope you got something useful or entertaining or what have you out of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Till next week, guys. Hope you had fun. We'll see you guys then. Keep on gaming, guys.
Bye, humans.